Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the geography class. So, this is the last chapter of this book, lesson number 9, Study of Continents, Australia. Australia is the smallest continent, but in its variety of landscape, climate, wildlife, it is no less extraordinary than any other continent because we can say as it is very small, but still this continent is having everything. Like if you talk about the wildlife, then it is having a good variety of wildlife, climate, and even the landscape. This continent is having forest. This continent has forest, snow-capped mountains, vast desert, sweeping plains covered with pastures, beautiful cities as well. So it is having everything. If we talk about the forest, mountains, desert, pastures farming, then beautiful cities they are having. And if we talk about the wildlife, then they are having kangaroos, koalas, platypus, which are not found anywhere else. So they are having strange animals which are not usually found anywhere else. Australia is the only continent in the world comprising a single country. So underline this one because this is the only continent in the world which is having a single country. It is the sixth largest country in the world and it is about twice the size of India. So this we should know ki this is the sixth largest country in the world, and if we talk about the size, then if whatever the size we are having, India is having, it is just double of that. India is divided into six states. What are they? New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Queensland, Tasmania, and Western Australia. So this is having two internal territories also, which is being governed by the central government. What are they? Northern Territory and Australian Capital Territory. So this you should remember. And northern this one Australian capital territory includes Canberra also, which also comes into this internal territory. So underline this one, this portion. Then next is Australia lies entirely in the southern and eastern hemisphere because we can say ki because of this being in the southern hemisphere, it is having a opposite season. If we are having summer, then they are having winter, and if they are having winter, so if we are having winter in India, then they are having summer in Australia. Opposite seasons they are having. Next is the Tropic of Capricorn runs almost through the middle of Australia. Thus, the northern half of the continent lies in the tropical zone and southern half lies in the south temperate zone. As you know very well, key heat zones are there. What are the heat zone? They are having frigid zone, they are having tropical zone, then torrid zone. Then if we talk about north and south, so they are having north frigid zone, north tropical zone, in the same way south also. So Tropic of Capricorn runs almost through the middle of the Australia. This you should remember because I will tell you from the map also where does this lie. Next is the island state of Tasmania is separated from the mainland by the Bass Strait, while the island of New Guinea is separated from Australia by the Torres Strait. So what the strait is, I'll tell you from the diagram. If this is the land and this is the portion, this is known as strait. Two lands are there, but they are not close to, they are not connecting with each other, but they are just close to each other. That is known as strait. This will be clear to you from this diagram. As you can see here, Tasmania is written, then Victoria is written. Here they are separating by Bass Strait. Tasmania is given here, this one is given here, so this is being separated by Bass Strait. As we know very well, As I told you before also, what the strait is, two lands are there but they are not interconnecting to each other. There is a portion which is known as strait. So here Bass Strait is given. In the same way, Torres Strait and New Guinea is also given. So many islands are situated to the southeast of the continent, and from that, New Zealand is the largest one. So you have to underline that one. The island of New Zealand are the largest of the others. Then Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, and the group of islands in the South Pacific Ocean are together called Oceania. Underline this one. There are group of islands. They are together known as Oceania. What they contain? Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, and other group of islands. They are together known as Oceania. Then Australia, New Zealand, and the nearby Pacific islands are sometimes together called Australasia. Underline this one also. Why they are called Australasia? Whenever they are together, Australia, New Zealand, and the nearby Pacific islands, they are sometimes together called Australasia. The next one is, so next is the land. So Australia is the least mountainous continent. Here, as you can see in the figure itself, this particular portion is having mountain, not more than this one. So this is being divided into three forms. What are they? Western Plateau, Central Lowland, and Great Dividing Range. So Great Dividing Range is also known as Eastern Highland. So the name of Great Dividing Range is Eastern Highland. You can call that one as Eastern Highland or Great Dividing Range. Now first we will discuss about Western Plateau, then we will discuss about Central Lowland, and the last we will discuss about Great Dividing Range. So, vast plateau spread over the entire western part of Australia, occupying nearly two-thirds of the continent. So, what does this contain? The Western Plateau, what does this contain? This is having a vast plateau which is spreading over the entire western part of the Australia, and it is covering, or we can say occupying, nearly two-thirds of the continent. So it is having a very hard rock, and we know very well what the plateaus are. If some of the students don't know, then I am drawing here. Plateaus are look like this. They are having a flat surface and having a gentle slope. Gentle slope. So this is the gentle slope and this is a flat surface. So plateaus look like this. So they are having a flat surface and the slopes are gently towards the east. Then there is one single rock that is known as Uluru. This one is very important. It is about 10 kilometer in circumferences. So underline this one. And the next one is Western Plateau consists of hot deserts. There are three deserts. What are they? The Great Sandy Desert, the Gibson Desert, and the Great Victoria Desert. So they are having three deserts and they are very hot. And because of this, we can say this region receives very little rainfall. Then the surface is sandy and rocky, and we can say whenever there will be a very less rainfall, then vegetation will not be there. So here the vegetations are of which type? They contains thorny shrubs and bushes. Then short thorny acacia is also grown in this region, And along the margins of the hot desert, one finds a short variety of eucalyptus known as Malay. So here eucalyptus known as Malay. You should know the name what the eucalyptus known as. So here the name is Malay, and they are found along the margin of the hot desert. Then, bordering the southern coast of Australia is a treeless region called Nullarbor Plain. So here we can say that is covering the southern portion, southern coast of Australia, that is having a treeless region. Next is central lowland. So central lowland lie between the western plateau and the Great Dividing Range, or we can say Eastern Highland. So they are extending from the Gulf of Carpentaria to the southern coast of the continent. So this is covering almost this portion. And if we talk about the elevation we can say the height of this region is less than 150 meter above sea level. And this area, Lake Erie. Lake Erie is below sea level. So you should remember the area around Lake Erie is below sea level. Next is the central lowland can be divided into three distinct parts. What are they? The northern part, the central part, and the southern part. So the northern part is a region drained by small rivers which flow into the Gulf of Carpentaria. Here there are rivers which are getting drained by this portion, and they are flowing into the Gulf of Carpentaria. Gulf of Carpentaria is on the northern portion, as you can see on on page number 111, figure 9.2. It is showing everything about Australia. Then the central part I told you that Lake Erie is there, and which is below sea level. Because of that, this area is known as low-lying area. The river of this area do not reach the sea. As you know कि this is below the sea level, that's why this usually do not reach the sea, and they flow into the lakes of the area. That's why this area is known as inland drainage. Inland drainage is basically the same. When the rivers do not reach the sea, they flow into the lakes of that area, that is known as inland drainage. Then next one is southern part of the central lowland. So in that southern part, we know very well here two rivers are given, Murray and Darling River. They are very important because here so many tributaries are there. Because of that, alluvial deposits is more as compared to the other, and we know very well whenever there will be a more deposits of alluvial, then that land is more fertile. So here these rivers made this region very fertile. Then next one is both the rivers rise from the eastern highland. Later they join together and flow into the Indian Ocean. You can see here in the figure itself. You can see here Murray and Darling River is there. Here tributaries are joining to this Murray and Darling River, and then they are flowing into the Indian Ocean. So for today this much is enough for you. In the next video we will discuss about the Rift Valleys, Great Artesian Basin and the Eastern Highland.